bring this meeting of the Marion County Board of Education to order. Please stand. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. First on the agenda this evening, before we get into the strategic plan presentation, we just got a few order of business to take care of. Number 3 on the agenda, overnight, over 100-mile trips.
I move that the board approve the following overnight, over 100-mile student trips for Marion County High FBLA, Marion County High Band, Lebanon Middle Vega, and West Marion Elementary Junior Band.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is acceptance and approval of the bid.
I make a motion that the board accept the bid on the surplus wireless access points. I second the motion.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is our consent items.
I move that the board approve the following consent items. We have the minutes dated February 5th, 2014. We've got the disbursement as follows. We have the following school-wide fundraisers. Then the next bullet, the 2013-2014 ARC chairperson revisions as follows. The next bullet is 2013-2014 504 chairperson revision as follows. The next bullet is assurance of compliance with the Department of Health. The next bullet after that is January travel expenses for Superintendent Schlosser in an amount of $235. The next bullet is overnight travel for Superintendent Schlosser, Board Member Mike Cecil, and Vice Chairperson Blaine Kingston to attend the Kids First and Fracture Advocacy Conference on February 19th and 20th, 2014.
My second. Questions or comments? I guess I don't have any problem approving that you go to this. I don't know that I want to put you to Lane to go.
It's actually.
Oh, it's wrong. Anybody have any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I pass on minutes. I was here.
Okay. All right. Superintendent Schlosser notified the board of the following actions regarding certified personnel and notification to the board of the following actions regarding classified personnel. Anybody have any questions or comments on those?
And I'm going to feed Angie here. I tell her, I said, that's the way to jump in, both feet.
Yeah.
High school. Don't get to go home much.
Well, with that, we're going to move with our strategic plan presentation, and that is by Debbie Howard from the Kentucky Department of Education. We're going to move, is that correct?
Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Debbie Powers. I'm currently with the Kentucky Department of Education. I've worked in your district before, so some of you may remember it was back when Roger Markham was your superintendent. I helped facilitate a vision and mission, he had a weekend retreat and I was a part of that work. So some of you may remember that. Others of you, I've been around a little bit. Laura and Tammy are both colleagues of mine. I'm here at their invitation. I'm here gratis, so board members should be happy about that. And I'm here because I am committed to leadership in Kentucky. Right now, my position is the Educational Recovery Director for the Kentucky Department of Education in the Central Region of Kentucky, meaning I work with the low-performing schools in Jefferson County and the OVEC region, which includes Trimble County High School. So I have 19 of the lowest performing schools in the state are my responsibility to fix. That's just, I can't even begin to tell you what an awesome task that is. It's a wonderful challenge. I have staff that works in the buildings alongside principals. I can tell you with the new superintendent that is in Jefferson County for the last 18 months or so, Donna Hargens, things have really changed. Before she arrived, it really didn't mean anything to be named a priority school. It now means something to be a priority school, and I'm thrilled about that. We have schools that are making progress, and we have schools that are still in the bottom 1%. They face tremendous challenges, just like every school faces tremendous challenges. One of the big pieces that she put into place right away was her vision and her strategic actions for sort of her first 100 days. I'm a history teacher, so I'm all about the political piece of that. And you know that oftentimes in history we look back and see a president's first 100 days. What did they accomplish? Or Congress' first 100 days. What did we accomplish? So she did that same sort of thing. What am I going to accomplish? These are my goals for my first 100 days in office, if you will. I have worked with Dr. Blake Hazelton at the University of Louisville, formerly in Oldham County, as a superintendent, and Blake and I kind of co-authored some work around vision and mission work, and we're thrilled to see that out there among especially new superintendents. So Laura and I reconnected in December when I made a presentation to new superintendents. I referenced Jefferson County because I want to show you some of the things that she's done in her 18 months that she's been there, and I want to challenge you to get on a fast track so that we can look at a really strong mission and vision for this district so that you can strategically plan. What Dr. Hazelton always teaches me is to look at a 3, a 5, and a 10-year vision for your district. When I was here before, it was a 10-year goal to be a top 10 district. So knowing the sorts of things that happened at that point, knowing the work that's gone on in some counties that I'm also working with. I'm also working with Madison and Jessamine counties and Garrett counties as well on this piece. And so what our goal tonight is to come away with a better understanding of what it is, what will drive your district. I believe we'll probably have time to put together the preliminary pieces of maybe a vision and a mission statement to build off of the things that you have started here. And then I've told Laura and Tammy both, I'm at your disposal. I will come back and help you, work with you, facilitate with you. But I do want to caution you, there are as many different ways to do this work as there are people who will help you do it. So I'm also not a template person. So I have a set of things and activities that we can go through, but you have to make it your own because it has to fit you. It has to fit your county. And that's the important part. They all can't look alike. But they all can have similar aspects, if you will. I've also done some work in Pendleton County with Anthony Strong, the superintendent there. So I'm going to share some of the work I did with them. I worked with Anthony because he knew of my work in mission and vision, and also he inherited a district. He was brought in mid-year. There was some financial issues, and his first charge was to fix that piece, so he did. And then his second charge was to take 20 people who didn't like each other and turn them into a team. Now, I do that work all the time in Jefferson County. You're like, here's the door, and here's the work. Which one do you want then? So I talked with Anthony about that. I spent an entire year in Pendleton County. So the work I'm going to share with you was a year's worth of work, but you have to understand where that came from. So that's not the case here at all, but you have to understand that. So I want to start. I'm going to walk you through a couple of things. I'm like I said, I'm a former history teacher, but I'm also a former middle school teacher, so I know not to give you handouts until it's time because you'll be rifling through them and looking and drawing pictures and stuff like that. So a couple of pieces that I wanted to share with you. I'm a big fan of Warren Bennis, and Warren Bennis has done some really terrific work. One of the books that we used, and something I used to be the director of Kentucky Principals Academy, of which Laura was an original designer of that academy. Warren Bennis has a book there called Organizing Genius. And it talks about what it takes to be a great group. What are the standards of leadership that it takes to be a great group? It is a fantastic little book. It's filled with case studies, everything from Apple to Walt Disney to the atom bomb. development. I mean, it's got everything, business, education, the military, everything's there. But the case studies come away and you have some take-home lessons on what it takes to be a great group. But one of the pieces that they talk about in leadership especially is the capacity to influence and organize meaning for the members of the organization. It's your job to do that. As a superintendent, a leadership team, and a board of education, it's your job to organize the work and the message so that your community and your stakeholders understand that. And that's critical. Really, visions are the first step in a goal setting or a strategic planning process. You got to know where you want to go before you make the plans to get there. And that's critical, very critical. Mission statements then tend to lay in and guide the day-to-day work. Visions, rather, provide a sense of direction for the long term or the means to the future. So there's another great book, and I was never like, oh, I love this book until I worked on my doctoral degree, and then it was like, oh my gosh, I've read so many books, but there's some really interesting pieces here. Tom Peters wrote something called Thriving on Chaos. It's a handbook for management revolution, and it talks about vision statements, especially being inspiring. They have to be clear and challenging to your group, and they have to make sense in your marketplace. You're going to write a vision statement that appeals to the marketplace, which is your entire community and the future of your children. That's what it's about. It's about the kids. Because healthy schools produce healthy communities, produce healthy societies. So we've got to get in that mindset. Visions themselves, or rather the determination of a vision, is often the easiest part of this whole process. The hard part is operationalizing that. So once we kind of know where you want to go, then you step back and say, how are we going to get there? And how long do you think it'll take us? And what are the incremental steps along the way? That's your strategic planning. So I want to help you understand the whole concept piece, and then we'll just charge right ahead. So these are just some vision statements from the past. As a history teacher, I love to look to the past. So Henry Ford says, when I'm through, everyone will have one. Lee Iacocca, remember him? I mean, he was bravado, and he's like, if you can find a better car, just buy it. Walmart, they had do it, try it, fix it. You can come in their stores and you can get anything. Do it, try it, fix it, whatever you need here. Microsoft, this is so true today even though this was written years ago. Empower people through great software, any place, anytime, and on any device. And how many of you had to buy watches for the kids that are phones this Christmas? I mean, that's the next thing. And then there's going to be probably a little chip, or for us, an earring that you have, and then there's your phone, and it's going to be amazing when that happens. But that was their vision. Any place, anytime, any device. And the U.S. Air Force, gotta love these guys, to defend the United States through control and exploitation of air and space. I like the control part, but the exploitation part is even better to me. I like that part too. All right, so we're going to get started. The vision has to be derived from the core beliefs of the organization. And as the superintendent and board, the leadership team with your district team, you have to set that tone. So I need to ask you some questions. What are your core beliefs around all things education? And you have to start with what you believe. Now, I totally ripped off an exercise here from National Public Radio, NPR. On Saturday mornings, they have that This I Believe piece that's on the radio. Well, that's where this comes from. Totally ripped it off. What I also have is a workbook for you guys. So I have this, this is the educator in me. Don't do anything with it until I tell you. Yeah, you can write your name on it. So. I think we're going to have just enough copies. We got one. And I think there's one for you in that pile too. Okay. Are we good? And I'm going to leave electronic copies of everything, PowerPoint, all the handouts, even the samples that I'm going to share with you from other districts. I'm going to leave all of that with you so you can refer back to it as you go. But I do want to remind you that strategic planning at its best fosters strategic thinking, acting, and learning, and is a crucial component of change management. Because that's what strategic planning is about. You're augmenting changes to produce the results you want. Remember the quote by Einstein that says, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, trying to get a different result. So no matter what you do, we're in the business of change, especially in education. So the vision of a school district should be informed by the stakeholders. And as a leadership team, you have to have a grand plan for your district. I'm a big fan of Mike Rutherford. Mike Rutherford's an educator that many of us have been in the room with, and you just kind of marvel at all things Mike Rutherford. But one of the things that he says in the student leadership piece that he has is that it's very easy for other people to comply with your vision, but they're going to commit to their own. So that's why collective visions are so important, because if everyone owns a piece of it, you can all commit to it. Otherwise, you default to whomever it is that read the vision, like, okay, they're the boss, I guess we'll go with it, rather than this is ours, we own it, and this is our work. So that's why it's so important. And a shared vision really does ensure buy-in and collaboration. So in your workbooks, if you open them up to the very first page, you've got, I think they did them in front and back for you. They did. Okay, so there's one box at the front of at the very top, and it says visioning. And what I want you to do is this is quiet individual work, no talking at the tables. What I want you to do is in that box, I want you to write what you believe the vision for the district is. Your vision for Marion County. Write that down. Now remember, a vision is a future perfect desired state. Okay, so what's your vision for Marion County Schools?